So I've just popped out between the April showers to come and spend a little bit of time with this cherry blossom tree. And this tree, every year I endeavour to spend as much time as I possibly can with her, because these incredible, beautiful display of cosmic life and beauty is oh so fleeting. This blossom is in this state for about a week. 10 days absolutely the maximum, depending on the weather. If we get heavy rain, they'll all be spoiled in a few days. And so I haven't frequented this old haunt for some time now, because I go over the wall into the churchyard, and that's where I sit in solitude, because some of you will remember from time to time I've had people have a go at me, and I've had the cops called on me 3 times, and all those sorts of things, just for sitting in this graveyard with my shorts on, reading a book, you know, enjoying myself. How many people that has upset over the years. But anyway, I don't not come here because I'm in avoidance. I have a preference now to the churchyard, because it's much more beautiful and it's further away from the road. And so it's quiet, there's a lot more squirrels, and the wildlife and birds around there are more prolific. And so one of my viewers made mention that there was a cherry tree nearby where he or she lives, and how every year this person is always in the greatest observance of new life coming on the buds. You know, after a dismal, dull winter, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing new life budding again on bushes and trees. And this is what I'm doing everywhere I walk, because I've got to know all the individual trees and lots of the bushes, what they are and how they look throughout their whole lives. And so I've become acquainted with them. I know them, they all know me, and it's a beautiful thing to expand your consciousness into many facets of what this world has to offer. You see, the more we learn about something, then the more our consciousness expands, and there is another facet to our consciousness. And so it builds and it rewards and it nurtures and nourishes, and it creates a deeper and richer personality, soul, spirit. And so this incredible cherry blossom, it blesses us with its beauty for such a fleeting window of opportunity. And what it does for me, you see, look, we've got down here some fresh graves, and so this is kind of like, it's a beautiful stark reminder of how short really our lives can be, and how we have let so many opportunities just pass us by without capitalising on them, how we never told the people that we care for and we love that we cared and loved for them, how we never did those nice things only on contrived moments when society told us to, like birthdays and Christmas and Valentine's Day and things like that. You can tell the people that you love them every single day, or keep them on their toes, don't tell them for a whole week, and then tell them, you know, when it really means something, when you do something nice. And you could just say, let's go for a little walk. Oh, why, you know, this, well, I just want you to come, let's just go for a little walk, shall we? Go for a little walk, and then bring them to a place like this, and you go, you see that? That's what you mean to me. That beauty is akin to your beauty, and I realise it and I cherish it. And every day I'm in observance of it, and my awareness is tuned into it. Because how many parents these days, they are so rushed because everybody has to work, slave, to pay for whatever they've been enticed and indoctrinated into paying, like mortgages and things like that. They take their children at the earliest opportunity, sometimes 1 year old, and place them into creches. And they pick them up at the end of the day, and the child then probably is so tired it just sleeps, and you put them to bed. You're missing all that wonderful stuff. It's a travesty to do that. And I would say to anybody that whatever riches or whatever things you're paying for, however you think you're getting along in your life, if you're doing that and you're missing the growth of your child, then one day, tragically, you'll discover that that hasn't been worthwhile. When you're sitting in the home that maybe you've mostly paid for, but you don't really know your children. And you contemplate and you ask yourself, wow, where has all that time gone? Look how big my children are. They're leaving home now. They're getting married and they're doing this, that and the other. And I don't really remember much about their childhood. You know why? Because you weren't there. Even if you are present, you're not here. You're not there here, are you? You're not in the now. And so we really need to remember. We really need to be present. We have to know every single minute of each day that we are present. And then when we look at our children, we go, oh my God, I'll never ever see this again. I'm so happy that I have this level of awareness and consciousness which enables me to grasp the magnitude and the importance of what is actually going on now. It's the genius of life. It's going on now. Look at the smile of my child. Look at those idiosyncrasies. Look at all different funny faces and actions. I've never seen them do that before. You see, when I was a young dad, me and my daughter's mother, we were fascinated with her. We just watched her, stared at her, and anytime she would be asleep, we'd just kneel down beside her like we was gazing upon an angel, looking at that gentle breathing and that perfect clean complexion. And then when she woke up, we'd look into those eyes, and they're so deep and they're so rich, like the cosmos themselves. And you'd look in and you'd see that love. It's in there, people. Don't miss it. Don't throw it away. Don't neglect it. Be present. And look closely at things. Actually stop and look and ask yourself, how do you do what you do? What configurations? What complexity? What incredible beauty? And look, you know, I have never seen a year when this tree hasn't presented itself in all of its splendor. Lots of fruit trees and some other blossom trees, they can give you an incredible display one year, and then the next year it's kind of like they're conserving their energies. Something's changed, and it's a phenomenon what actually happens, because nobody can say for sure. And then maybe a year or two later they'll come back with full abundance. But I've never experienced this tree being Spartan. And so it really is quite a huge tree. It's not often that you get a cherry blossom this big. It's so full. And you know, on a balmy summer's day, I'll come here in my shorts, with barefoot, walking over this grass, and I will look at the light cascading on those blossoms, and how just in a gentle breeze they will just sway ever so softly. And unless you're looking really carefully, you won't even see the movement, and it's like the tree itself is breathing. Wonderful. Wonderful. So I felt it important to impart this message, to give you a reminder, because many of us need this reminder now and again. A little bit of a wake-up call. I realise lots of you have very busy lives, and even when you're with your children and loved ones, you're always doing something and rushing. And even though they're there and you think you are there, you're not there anything like as profoundly as you could be if you had the mind to make that realization. If you asked yourselves, how present actually am I? What am I seeing? Because when we stop and we observe, and that is all we're doing, we're making observations, then we will be very perplexed to notice that we notice a great deal more, and you can notice things that you've never noticed about a person or thing before when you just stop with the intention to be present and observe. So this is my previous bench where I've passed thousands of hours over the years, and then barefoot walking around on this beautiful soft grass with whatever book I have at the time, and just gently turning around and getting an all-over tan rather than just sitting down and being burnt on one side. And you see, keep grounded on this beautiful soft grass. It's very nurturing. And then reading spiritual literature, really get connected. Now this tree here, this is a crimson king. It's a maple, and the trees, the leaves, they are scarlet or burgundy, and in the autumn they turn incredible yellow and orange. Throughout the whole year, these trees are astounding. And there's one of them which is directly outside of my apartment, and I'll show you it in the summertime. But you see here these gorgeous little baby cute leaves. Look at those baby little leaves, and those delightful yellow buds. And so this again, very short-lived. A few days time I will come out here and I will see all of these flowers on the floor, and if it's a dry day they'll all be blowing around. Usually after heavy rain they have all been cast down and they are flat and sad looking upon the pavement here. And if there's ever been a time when I have missed them in this particular dress, then that saddens me, because I wasn't present, and it's like, damn, I missed it. That window of opportunity is so brief, only 1 week, 7 days. out of 365. You've got to be present, people. You've got to be alert. You've got to have your wits about you. Otherwise, you won't feel connected. You'll lose your connection. It really is important at any given opportunity to get barefoot wherever you are, and to take your clothes off and have the wind and the sun on your body. For men, of course, it's much more viable. And I couldn't imagine having that level of constraint, being a female, and not having just the whole body out, you know. And one of the biggest contentions of people who came upon me in previous years, in the summertime, I often wear Speedo shorts, which are just short swimming shorts. They're not board shorts, you know. They're just high up the leg. And I was told by one of the council operatives who told me that, you know, what I was doing wasn't correct. And I said, well, what's the problem? Just sitting here with my shorts on. And she said, some of you remember, yes, but they're short shorts, aren't they? So I said, well, okay, but please enlighten me. Where does the crime start? And I put my hand down upon my knee, and I started to raise it up like that. And I said, please, can you tell me when the crime starts? Because I have no idea. I mean, I wonder if I would have had any of the hassle if I was wearing these. Or even because these are higher than the knee. Do we have to go to Victorian times and cover our knees? You know, it's so laughable, these people. And I'm like, well look, I'm all ears. I'm open for a conversation as to what it is that anybody is offended by. If you can tell me, and I've often asked people, sit down, but they're trembling and you're vile, you're this and you're that, and I'm like, well, I mean, I think that's the kettle calling the teapot, to be fair. I mean, you're the one that's using this vile language, and you're angry and tense and embittered, and I'm just sitting here reading a spiritual book, you know, enjoying, you know, the gift of the cosmos. So please enlighten me to what your problem is. Let's talk about it. And you know, I'll tell you what, we'd find all different sorts of childhood trauma. We really would. Because many people, they walk past me, good morning, good afternoon, and they don't have the slightest of problems. You know, I don't know, it's probably 1 in 100 that has a problem. And of course they have deep-rooted problems. And so where is the problem? Is it in my short shorts, or is it in their psyche? I think we'll find that it's in their psyche. And so, you know, I've never been the sort of person to go to a funeral in black. I don't possess any black clothes. I would never wear any black, and I would never conform with that level of nonsensical rubbish. And one time I was at a very dear friend of mine's funeral, and another friend of mine asked me why I wasn't paying respect. And I says, what are you on about? He says, you're not wearing black. And I went, oh, okay. Paying respect. I said, you know what respect is? I saw my friend who killed himself by alcohol. I saw him at least 3 times a week for the past 2 years, and I did many things trying to get him off of alcohol. And we had, you know, hundreds and hundreds of conversations, because he was into all the psychology and all that sort of thing, and he was a trained hypnotist, and he turned me on, you know, to being a hypnotist. And so I was with him right up until the end, and I watched him, you know, decay, and, you know, I got angry with him, and you know, all different sorts of things, trying all different sorts of methods to bring a change of heart. I said, you're going to leave 3 beautiful children. 2 of them, you know, are toddlers. You know, where's your mindset? But you know, it had no effect. But this friend of mine, who came in black, the only time he showed up at the friend who died's door was one occasion, and he just spoke to him haughtily, demeaningly, chastising him for being a loser and being an alcoholic, and pull yourself together and this, that and the other. And I says, don't talk to me about respect. You ain't got a fucking clue what respect is. And I told him, I said, you know what? He said to me, when you'd been round, he told me that you'd been round. And I goes, oh yeah, what's he have to say? And he says, oh, nothing really. He was just haughty, supercilious and demeaning. And I went, yeah, that's typical him. And so he was very taken aback by that, because he was at the graveside now of someone he called a friend who he'd never been round to help in 2 years. And one occasion when he did, all he wanted to do was to belittle him and take him down without having any empathy or consideration for the addiction that he was under. And so that was a stark lesson for him. And you know, it's just another insight into people's hypocrisy. And this is why you know, I'm donning this. And this is why I don't have any time for Christians, because I've never met an honourable one. I can't see the purpose why anybody would want to brandish their allegiance to some sort of nonsense hypocrisy, and they can't even begin to live in a way that their idol asked them to. And you know, I'm always jousting with my viewers to entice a few of them forward with their venomous, vicious tongues, and I just point out to them, aha, thou shalt not judge. Well, you failed on that one, and then with all your hate and bitterness, there's most certainly no love in your heart for your fellow man. And whatever happened to love thine neighbour and love thine enemy? Whatever happened to those concepts? People are so far flung from these concepts, people. And that's why I always place myself in a position to joust with them and to bring about a certain realization. And in my book, I speak at great length about the Christian faith and the tenets of that faith and the hypocrisy and the rational application of some of the tenets, as opposed to the senseless, nonsensical rubbish that most people consider is true and right and correct, which stems out of that dogma. So anyway, people, I've had a beautiful break in the clouds, and spring is upon us, and we've got all these wonderful things going on, all the different colours. And so even though this isn't my favourite of haunts, I will come and sit here on occasion and walk down, because in these balmy summer days that we have, there's nobody, you know, invariably ever that enters these places. You know, seldom will somebody walk straight through. They'll just cut through rather than walking down the boring alleyway there. And so it's my garden, and I treat it as such. And I've become somewhat a part of the furniture. And so I'll see you here in due course.